Welcome home all. It is Monday after the weekend and it is time for 10 Minutes of Truth with SuperMex. And the good thing about, these weekends now is not that there's so much more news, because there's news daily, but going back to last week and the week prior, there's like news items that like clearly jump off the page and end up sucking up all the oxygen for the entire, news weekend. And then, come steaming into the Monday and have legs and carry in through the week. And then we get, the old traditional news dump on the Friday, and then we carry into the weekend, right? Control the news cycle. But, unless you're, again, living under a rock, and I'm going to guess that if you are watching my show, you are somewhat informed and you do pay attention and you do try, at least make that effort, to inform yourself about what is going on and what is out there in some form or another, whether it be a traditional media outlet, social media, reading, I hope, also reading, or some other form of intake of information. So, having said that, I think, where does this go? Well, I think we know where it's going. Real simple. So, all through the weekend and into this week, it was about the president contracting the COVID virus and basically his visit to Walter Reed, and basically, and listen, and what it should be, he's the President of the United States. We should concern ourselves with his health, because he is the leader of our country, and he is responsible for quite a bit, and he needs to be at full health to adequately, now watch this, adequately do the job of taking care of us Americans. See what I did there? Some of you reading below the surface, you should. But that's his job. His job is to take care of the American people. All of the American people, not just his people or the people that he likes. Yeah, it is the job. And if you don't like that, too bad. And if you don't like that as a president, then you shouldn't take the damn job. You don't hold your hand up and say, I swear to uphold the Constitution, but only for the people that I like. No. You're there to uphold the Constitution for every living, breathing soul in this constitutional republic. That's the job. That is requirement. That is what you're supposed to do. So, we have been consumed, and in some cases, I will say, there are definitely people obsessed with the coverage of it, good or bad, depending on which side of the aisle or fence you land on. But again, it is important, because he is the President of the United States, and his incapacitation or inability to do the job affects all of us. That's a fact. And I think even the most hard-headed among us will agree at least to that. Okay? So, having said all that, here's where we are. We're 7 months plus in. A good, healthy chunk, if not an overwhelming majority, of this calendar year has been taken up and literally the oxygen sucked out of the room regarding the coronavirus and everything to do with it, because it quite literally has changed not only this country but the face of the planet, whether you want to admit it or not. It's a fact. And I'm talking about not just the deaths and the infections, but also the havoc that it has wreaked socially, economically, and it's wreaked some havoc on our standing in the world as a nation, as a country, and it has definitely wreaked some havoc on the psyche of the average American, if not everybody on the planet. Okay, those are just hard facts, and it's observable, and it is obvious to all that are still honest and intellectually not disingenuous. Okay, so that's where we're at. Let's get those stats up. Let's see the numbers on the state in which we are. Status quo as of right now, the state in which. As of today, updated stats, American deaths stand at over 215,000 American dead due to the virus. And I'll do this like I always do. For those of you out there that don't think that's a real number, what is an okay number? 200,000, 150,000, 100,000 Americans dead? As something that could have been contained and controlled and mitigated, minimized, brought to heel, been done, because other countries have done their part, done their job, and they're dealing with a different situation than we are. They're not losing anywhere near as many people as we are dead. They're not infecting anywhere near as many people as we are. And they're actually back to some semblance of normalcy in terms of their economies, their education systems, their governance. Yeah, hey, don't take my word for it. Go read a little bit. Go read and find out that our country, the United States, sucks when it comes to dealing with the coronavirus. We're the worst on the planet, period. No argument. It's just a fact. Deal with that however you choose see fit. You choose and see fit. American unemployment, slightly under 10%, but still monstrous. American debt, I've been monitoring this one. I literally have a tracker on my desktop. I have a tracker in my browser for my desktop. And that thing's always just ticking, it's just rolling. And here's the thing, for those of you guys that are math people, you do realize that as that number grows and compounds itself, the growth continues to be exponential. The more there is, the greater the rapidity and the greater the speed at which the debt increases. Unless we do something serious, like right now, that's going to only continue to increase. And I'm going to hazard a guess, we got to 27 really quick. 27 trillion US dollars that we are in debt. By the time we get to the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if it's another trillion. It's moving that fast. Again, because we're not doing anything to slow it down. And damn sure the president's not doing anything to slow it down. He's a tax and spend liberal when it comes to wasting money. You heard what I said. Exactly. Where's my proof? It's right here. Check it out. See that? That number keeps growing. The national debt. We're passing that on, and I do this all the time. Hey, millennials, look at the gift we're giving you. It's a gift that will continue to keep on giving in an ugly, ugly way. $27 trillion and climbing that we're handing over to the millennials. And this is that last caveat that I throw in for you guys. Oh yeah, and it's all your fault. Hey, millennials, the debt is all your fault because you make all the decisions, because you're in all the positions making the decisions, you run the country. Wink, wink. You get the point. Millennials get the joke. Okay, let's get down to some business. I want to point out, go ahead and remove. I want to point out that, and we're going to make it as simple as we can. The president called this thing a hoax. He said that it would go away like a miracle. I don't even want to, I can't even begin to get into all the stupid things that he said over this time, okay? But I think we get the point. He was minimizing, prevaricating, lying, and justifying the stupidity of what he was doing in trying to minimize what was actually going on. And the result is we have over 200,000 American deaths, period. While he sat on his ass making excuses. And now on record, oh yeah, I downplayed the virus. I downplayed it. And more people died while he downplayed it. Remember, what's his job? Take care of the American people. Failure. I'd give him an F if we were still back in school. But I'm going to show you something that sticks out to me. And I don't normally do this because on my record and on my honor, go back and find anything in my 10 minutes of truth. Now 28, 29, 30 shows we're going on over many, many weeks. I've never put up a Democrat and defended a Democrat office holder because of Trump. And there are plenty of things to do. I don't like getting into the back and forth bickering and bipartisan stuff. But this is to illustrate a point. This is to illustrate a point. Joe Biden, the current Democratic nominee for president, immediately came out and wished the president and wife Melania and everybody else a speedy recovery and wished them well and hoped that they recovered and they were better. Didn't say anything negative, didn't talk smack about him. He pulled all his attack ads on air, even though some Democrats wanted him to continue to attack, but the guy pulled him. So while you're ripping on Joe Biden, the one thing you will not say, and not with a straight face unless you know you're lying to yourself, the guy has a little bit of character and class. His opponent is hurt, his opponent is sick, and he didn't take a shot. That's an honorable man. Whether you guys like it or not or believe it or not is irrelevant to me. Simple statement of fact. That is an honorable act because that's the same thing that I would do. Wish the man well, hope he gets back up, and let's go back at it. That's the way I compete, that's the way I fought, that's the way I believe. So Joe Biden did that this weekend, wished him well, wished him a speedy recovery, pulled his negative attack ads. To illustrate my point, would the president have done the same if it were Joe Biden? No, because he was making fun of him wearing a mask the week before. I'll go a step further. When the president's past opponent got sick, injured, or ill, the president didn't wish her a speedy recovery or wish her well or her family. This is what our president did back then. Go ahead and play the video.
Of these different things, and she can't make it 15 feet to her car. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. She's home resting right now. She's getting ready for her next speech, which is going to be about 15 minutes, and it's going to be in 2 or 3 days.
Gotta love this technology stuff, right? There's something for everybody. And again, the point isn't to make it a partisan issue. The point is to illustrate a point, not to do with Democrat or Republican, but just being a damn good human being. I have people right now taking personal shots at me. Personal shots at me, my wife, my family. And as much as I'd like to just go and grab their damn scrawny necks and snap them, because I could, I won't. I'll look upstairs and pray the big man has a better plan for them, because clearly their plan's not working out now if they have to come and attack me. And without being too religious about it, I've got my faith, and that's for me. Point being is, why wish someone ill for no reason other than being a petty human being? Did he need to make fun of her? No, but he did. Joe Biden, did he need to make fun of the president? No, and he didn't. That's petty. It has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. And if you think it does have to do with something with Republican and Democrat, then you're way too deep. You're way too deep in this partisan mess that we only have about 30 days left of. Because let's face it, even after this mess is done, November 3rd, not all of you are going to turn a new leaf and say, okay, everything's good now, let's go back to something close to being reasonable and working with people that don't agree with us. I know I will. I'm still doing it right now. Even if you don't like what I say, I'll still treat you the same, with some respect, with some courtesy, professional courtesy at the least, and some dignity, even if I don't agree with what you're saying, even if you're taking shots at me personally, even if you are petty and a filthy human being. I still give you that, because I'll be judged later. And when I get judged, I want to be able to look that man in the eye, that person in the eye, and know that I did the right thing even when dirty was done to me. That's just being a good human being. Okay? But I will say, and I don't think the president is a good human being, and I defy anybody to get on my feed right now and tell me that they really do believe the president is a great human being. Because you won't. Because you know you'll be lying. And most decent people don't want to go on record as lying about something like that. This is what I think of when I think of the president. When he makes fun of, he mocks, he belittles, he bullies, he takes personal shots, racist comments, and all the above, which isn't political unless you make it that. It's human. But this is what I think. It reminds me, and I have told you guys a lot of times, when I think the world is wrong and I don't feel good about things that I see or hear, I go back to my default settings. For those of you guys that are with me at all, you know what those two default settings are. Star Trek and the Twilight Zone. And there is a Twilight Zone and a Star Trek episode for everything. Everything to know about life I learned on Star Trek and the Twilight Zone. So here's one. Great episode too, by the way. So I'm going to play you this little clip. It's basically about a child having unlimited power and the ability to do whatever he wants with no check on his power. Go ahead and play the video. There you go. That is our president. I hate anyone that doesn't like me. And that's unfortunate. Because even though I don't like the man, I don't hate him. I just wish he'd be better. And even in these last 30 damn days and the months that come after, I honestly and seriously wish that he would treat people better. And I don't mean just his people. I mean everybody. I mean every damn red-blooded American in this country and everybody on this damn planet. He's the most powerful man on the planet. And with great power is supposed to come great responsibility. You don't eschew or while away that responsibility. You will pay a price for it later. Everybody does. May not be in this life. You damn sure will catch it in the next. Go ahead and remove. I had some other thoughts. I'm going to hold it because I want to keep to my 10 minutes. It may be a little harsh for some of you. I've not made a secret of where I'm at with this president. I gave him his opportunity, like I do every president, and have found him wanting in so many capacities it's not even funny. And usually my points are on a leadership level, and they have to do with leading your people, taking care of your people, doing what's right for your people. And herein lies the disconnect. For all evidence on the table, the President of the United States believes that the 300+ million people in this country are not all his people. He has his percentage, and the rest of us, and yes, that does include me. That does include me. I'm not a sycophant. I don't kiss his ass and play up. And I won't tell people what they think they need to hear so I can be on the right side. Oh, I'm going to be this guy because I'm going to be a little conservative on this issue. And, oh, yeah, he's tough and he's this or that. Wrong answer. He's one of the filthiest human beings to ever occupy the White House and sit behind the resolute desk. And I'm only saying that because I wasn't alive 100 years ago. But everything I've seen in this lifetime, absolutely. But more important than all of that, who he is as a human, is who he is as a leader. Bottom line, and put it on the table. If you want to have a conversation, I'm not hard to get a hold of. Message me, we'll have that talk. He failed to protect his people, all of us. He failed, and people die. He failed, and 215,000 and climbing are continuing to die. That is a failure of leadership. It is the greatest failure of presidential leadership in the history, 244 years of this constitutional republic. And I'll argue that with any of you. Again, I'm not difficult to get a hold of. Message me. I'd love to have the conversation with you. You have a good week. We have more content coming for you in a lot of different ways. Stay with us. Nothing but the truth here. Nothing but love for you. SuperMex is out.